I spent 10 years sending money every month, believing my daughter was studying at an elite boarding school. But when I arrived unannounced, I discovered she was the maid cooking, cleaning, and sleeping on a cot. The owner of the house shoved her right in front of me. "Hurry up, girl." And what did I do next? My name is Carmen, and I am 38 years old. I have been working in a textile factory in the United States for a decade, almost always working double shifts. My hands smell of fabric and chemicals, even after 3 showers. I have no social life, no partner, no hobbies, but I had a purpose. Every 15th of the month, I transfer $1,500 to my distant cousin Patricia's account. Without fail. 10 years doing this, 120 exact transfers, $180,000 in total. I do the math at night when I can't sleep. When my co-workers go out on Fridays, I go back to my 1-bedroom apartment, make ramen, check my phone, and look at the photos Patricia sends me of my daughter. My daughter's name is Sophia. She is 18 now. Well, she turns 18 in 3 days. That is why I finally bought the plane ticket. That is why I am finally going to see her after so long. Let me rewind. 10 years ago, my marriage exploded. My ex-husband left with another woman. He literally disappeared. He pays no child support. He doesn't call. He doesn't exist in Sophia's life. I was 28 years old with an 8-year-old girl. I was working at a convenience store earning minimum wage. It wasn't enough for anything. The bills were piling up. The refrigerator was empty. Sophia was asking why there was no food. Patricia appeared at the exact right moment. She was my mother's cousin. I barely knew her. She lived in the capital, had money, a big house, and good contacts. She offered me a solution: let me take Sophia with me. There is a prestigious boarding school here. Top-tier education, languages, computer science, everything included. You work hard over there in the States. Send me $1,500 a month to cover the boarding school costs. I'll handle everything else. It sounded perfect, too perfect. But I was desperate. Sophia needed opportunities. I couldn't give them to her alone, so I accepted. I packed her small suitcase. I promised her it would be temporary, that soon things would be better, that this was for her future. Lies I told myself so I could breathe. For the first few years, Patricia sent photos constantly. Sophia in a navy blue uniform, smiling, holding books in a classroom, in a green courtyard. The photos kept me sane during the 16-hour shifts. I would look at them during my 10-minute breaks. My baby is okay. My baby is studying. My sacrifice is worth it. The calls were brief. Patricia said the boarding school had strict rules about communication to build character and independence. Sophia could only call on Sundays, for 15 minutes maximum. She always sounded rushed. "Mom, I'm fine. Yes, I'm studying a lot, I love you. I have to go." I never questioned anything. I wanted to believe, I needed to believe. Over the years, the photos became spaced out once a month. Always Sophia in the same uniform, always the same tense smile, always similar poses. I thought it was because she was growing up, busy with exams, with friends, with her life. The calls changed too. They were shorter, more distant. Her voice sounded tired, but Patricia said it was normal. Adolescence, academic stress, nothing to worry about. This year, I decided enough was enough. 10 years without hugging my daughter. Her 18th birthday, her coming of age. I saved for 6 months for the ticket. I told Patricia I was coming. She made excuses. Better wait for summer. The school is in final exams. Sophia is very stressed. A visit now would distract her. I ignored everything. I bought the ticket. I didn't tell her the exact date. I wanted to surprise them. The flight was interminable. 12 hours thinking about the hug, her surprised face, finally being together. I landed on a Tuesday morning. I took a taxi directly to the address Patricia gave me years ago, the address of the boarding school where my daughter supposedly studied. The taxi stopped in front of a black electric gate, a mansion, 3 stories, perfect gardens, a fountain at the entrance. Nothing like a boarding school. I told the taxi driver to check the address. He insisted it was correct. 452, Magnolia Street. I got out, confused. Maybe Patricia lived near the school. Maybe she would pick me up here. I rang the doorbell. A woman in a professional apron opened it. Good morning. I explained that I was looking for Patricia Ramirez. She nodded. Yes, Mrs. Patricia lives here. Please, come in. My stomach churned. Something didn't add up. I entered, following the employee down a marble hallway. I heard voices from the kitchen. A voice I would recognize anywhere. Patricia's voice shouting, "Hurry up, girl. Dinner must be ready at 7 o'clock sharp. Don't make me repeat myself." And another voice answering, "Yes, ma'am. I'm almost done, ma'am." I recognized that second voice. It was my daughter, too. My legs moved on their own. The employee tried to stop me, but I was already running toward the kitchen. The hallway felt endless, expensive paintings on the walls, shiny floors, everything luxurious, everything perfect, everything a lie. I entered the kitchen and the world stopped. Sophia was in front of an industrial stove, wearing worn-out gray sweatpants, a stained white t-shirt, a dirty apron tied at her waist, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. Her hands were red, cracked, with visible burns on her forearms. She was stirring a huge pot, vapor rising into her face. She was 18 years old, but she looked 30. Patricia was turned away, checking her phone. Designer dress, high heels, perfect nails, salon hair, jewelry shining. My money, worn on her body. Sophia, I said her name barely above a whisper. But she heard it. She turned around. Her eyes met mine and I didn't see joy. I saw absolute terror, as if she had seen a ghost, as if my presence were a catastrophe. The wooden spoon fell from her hand. It bounced on the ceramic floor. Patricia turned around then. Her face went through 1,000 expressions in 2 seconds. Surprise, panic, calculation, and finally, a perfectly constructed fake smile. "Carmen, what a surprise. I didn't know you were coming today. I thought you said the weekend." "I never said the weekend. I never said any specific day because I knew you would invent excuses." My voice came out cold, colder than I thought possible. "Where is the boarding school, Patricia? Why is Sophia cooking in your house? Why does she have those burns? Why is she looking at me with fear instead of hugging me?" Patricia laughed. A sharp, nervous laugh. "Oh, Carmen, always so dramatic. Sophia helps me. Sometimes she likes to cook, right, Sophia? It's her hobby." She turned toward my daughter and, in that moment, did something I will never forget. She physically shoved her toward the stove. "Hurry up, girl. Finish dinner. We have guests in 2 hours. Don't disappoint me." Something broke inside me. 10 years of exhaustion, 10 years of sacrifice, 10 years of lies. Everything exploded. I grabbed Patricia by the arm. Hard. My fingers left marks. "What is going on here? Speak now or I'm calling the police." Patricia tried to pull away. She let out weak excuses. "It's complicated. You don't understand. The boarding school closed years ago. Sophia needed a place to stay. I gave her food. Don't be ungrateful." Sophia started to cry. First in silence, tears falling onto her apron. Then sobs. Years of pain coming out all at once. And she spoke. There never was a boarding school, Mom. Never. From the first day, she put me to work. I cleaned the whole house, cooked 3 meals a day, washed clothes, served at her parties, slept in the servants' quarters. An old cot with no windows, I barely fit. Her voice cracked with every word. I couldn't call you. She controlled the phone. Once a month she let me speak for 15 minutes. She told me exactly what to say. If I didn't obey, she took away my food. The photos in the uniform. We took them all on the same day. Once a year. She made me put on the uniform she bought. 30 photos in different poses. She sent them spaced out over months. My vision blurred literally, everything went fuzzy, my whole body shaking, nausea rising in my throat. I leaned against the wall so I wouldn't fall. Patricia tried to interrupt. That's not true. She's exaggerating. She's a dramatic girl. She was always problematic. I closed my eyes. I saw every transfer, every extra shift, every time I refused to go out with coworkers because I needed to save. Every cheap meal, every lonely Christmas, all for Thisto turn my daughter into a slave. I opened them again. I looked at Sophia with real attention for the first time. Her hands weren't those of a student, they were the hands of a domestic worker, rough, cut. In the photos, she always hid them. Now I understood why. Her hunched posture, shoulders slumped, years of heavy labor. Her broken, empty, frightened gaze. All the signs were always there. I just wanted to believe the lie. Patricia kept talking. Justifications, manipulations. I gave her opportunities, Carmen. I taught her to cook, to clean. Useful skills. Don't be dramatic. She had everything: a roof, food, clothes. Many girls don't have that. I interrupted her. Voice low, dangerous. You stole my money. You enslaved my daughter. For 10 years. She lifted her chin. Defiant still. You have no proof of anything. You're going to believe a resentful teenager. I am family, Carmen. I helped you when no one else did. I pulled out my phone. Patricia went pale. I started taking photos. The kitchen, the giant pots, Sophia's dirty apron, her burned hands. Patricia tried to snatch the phone from me. I screamed. The employee who had opened the door appeared, scared. I told her to call the police. She hesitated. She looked at Patricia, then at Sophia crying, and she dialed. While we waited, I asked Sophia to show me where she slept. We went up narrow service stairs. We reached a tiny room on the 3rd floor. 2 meters by 2 meters. A rusty cot, a thin blanket, no closet, a hanging light bulb, unbearable heat, the smell of dampness. I photographed everything. I checked my phone, the archived messages from Patricia, 10 years of conversations, every promise, every lie, every fake photo, everything documented. The bank transfers, 120 receipts, exact dates, exact amounts, $180,000 traceable dollars. I found papers on the small table next to the Coda handwritten contract, illegible, illegal, basically selling Sophia's labor in exchange for accommodation, signed 10 years ago. Sophia was 8. Patricia ran upstairs. She tried to snatch the documents from me. I had already taken photos of everything. The police arrived 30 minutes later. The officers entered cautiously. An older man, a young woman. Patricia immediately changed her attitude. Soft voice, fake tears. Perfect victim demeanor. Officers, thank you for coming. There is a terrible misunderstanding. My cousin is upset, she doesn't understand the situation. Her daughter lives with me of her own free will. The female officer ignored her. She went straight to Sophia. How old are you? 18, ma'am. I turned 18 3 days ago. Do you live here? Yes, ma'am. Since I was 8. Do you work here? Yes, ma'am. I have always worked here. I showed her the photos, the room, the burns, the messages, the transfers, the illegal contract, everything. The older officer gave a low whistle. This is serious, Mrs. Ramirez. Child labor. Fraud. Possible human trafficking. Patricia lost her composure. Her voice went up 3 octaves. Human trafficking. You're crazy. She's my family. I helped her. I gave her everything. I checked my phone again. I had the recording app open since we entered the kitchen. 30 minutes of audio. Patricia admitting there never was a boarding school. Patricia shoving Sophia. Patricia justifying everything. I hit play for the officer. Patricia tried to snatch my phone. The officer stopped her. Ma'am, calm down or we will have to arrest you right now. While they were talking, I searched the internet. I found the profile of a local journalist, Carlos Mendez, who specialized in domestic abuse cases and social injustice. He had 100,000 followers on social media. I wrote him the whole story via direct message in 5 paragraphs. I attached 3 photos, the room, Sophia's hands, and a screenshot of the transfers. He replied in 2 minutes. I can be there in half an hour. This story needs to get out. The officers took Patricia away for formal questioning. They left the young female officer with us. We sat in the luxurious living room. Furniture that probably cost 6 months of my salary. Bought with my money, with my daughter's stolen future. Carlos arrived with a cameraman. He interviewed Sophia. She told everything, 10 years in 20 minutes, crying, shaking, but steady, strong. My girl was strong. He interviewed me. I showed everything. Documents, photos, messages, transfers. The young officer authorized us to film in the servants' room. The images spoke for themselves. Carlos published the story that same night. Social media first, then the local news at 10 p.m. By midnight it was viral. 50,000 shares, 100,000 comments, 200,000 views. Patricia's extended family started calling cousins, uncles, acquaintances, all outraged, all cutting contact. Her reputation was destroyed in hours. Patricia owned an image consulting firm. Ironic. By the next morning, 3 clients had cancelled contracts. By noon it was 8. By the afternoon, her business bank account was closed. A lawyer called the number Carlos published. He introduced himself as Eduardo Salinas, a specialist in labor rights. Pro bono cases for victims. He wanted to take our case at no cost. I accepted immediately. Eduardo moved mountains. In a week we had a restraining order against Patricia. In 2 weeks we regained access to all financial documents. The transfers were tracked, every dollar accounted for. But there was more. Eduardo investigated and found 2 other families. Same story. Distant cousins, promises of education, children working as servants. Patricia had perfected the system. The other families joined the case. A class action lawsuit. The media went crazy. A national story. Now there were debates on television. Opinion columns. Protests in front of the mansion. Patricia tried to flee the country. They stopped her at the airport. Passport seized. Formal charges, child labor exploitation. Aggravated fraud. Human trafficking for the purpose of exploitation. The trial took 6 months. I won't bore you with all the legal details here, but we won. Patricia was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Ordered to return all the money to the three families. Plus compensation for damages, plus government fines. I recovered $180,000, plus $70,000 in compensation $250,000 in total. That night we left the mansion, Sophia with an improvised suitcase. Clothes we found in her room. Not much. She never had much. We went to a hotel. Nothing fancy, but clean, safe. Ours. Sophia showered for an hour. She came out with red eyes, but lighter. We ate pizza in bed. She ate 4 slices. We didn't talk much, we just existed together. That night I heard her crying. I went to her bed. I hugged her. She clung to me like she did when she was 8. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry for not telling you. I was scared. I thought you would abandon me again. I never abandoned you. Never. I was a fool, I was blind, but I always loved you. Always. We cried together until dawn. For those asking what happened next, we returned to the United States. Sophia is in therapy twice a week. She still has nightmares, but fewer. She smiles more. She enrolled in community college. She is studying social work. She wants to help other children. She says her experience has to serve some good purpose. I got a single shift job. Warehouse manager. It pays better. Normal hours. I get home at 6. We have dinner together every night. Patricia appealed the sentence. She lost. She will serve the full 12 years. The other 2 families were also reunited with their children. We formed a support group. We see each other once a month. To the parents reading this, verify everything, always. No matter how much you trust, no matter how desperate you are. If something feels off, it probably is. I ignored so many signs. The guilt eats away at me some days, but Sophia says it's not my fault. She says we were both victims. She is learning to forgive me. I am learning to forgive myself too. Life isn't perfect. Now we have therapy bills. Sophia has physical and emotional scars. I have 10 years of absence that I will never get back. But we are together finally, really together.